my topic.
All right, forewarning, there will be probably some spoilers in here.
Spoilers for the Batman.
Well, you're talking
for the
about
Batman.
the Batman.
The Batman.
So if you're watching and you plan to watch and you don't want spoilers, now is your time to exit.
We'll give you a little bit. Now get out of here because we're going to talk some good stuff.
3, 2, 1.
And here we go. All right. So we all saw the Batman Friday, right?
We did.
Yes.
It was
phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Really good.
Fantastic. I'm going to put it up there as right behind The Dark Knight for me.
I was actually going to put it right around there.
I think so. I think it is reminiscent of the Nolan trilogy. I think Matt Reeves wanted to keep it similar to that universe as being more realistic.
Yeah.
I think that was outside of that main point right there, along the lines, also adding more of the detective aspect, which is really a foundational point of Batman's character. Detective Comics, like, come on. Yeah. I think they knocked it out of the park in those aspects.
Yeah. No, I think, and I told Weston this, we talked about this on the way, in the car on the way back, but like how you said about the world is kind of more real like the Nolan trilogy was, but I don't think it plays super real like it was like, Chicago. Like that's basically the Nolan trilogy. I'm not saying anything wrong with that.
No,
I think
Gotham.
I love that.
It just took place in
series.
Chicago.
Yeah, no, but like it felt just like a normal city. This one has a very aesthetic change, and like it's very, like it feels real, but it feels like very like comic booky at the same time. Like a good example of that is like Wayne Manor or like his house, right? I don't think it's actually a mansion in it. I think it's a penthouse, but it's very like gothic and very over exaggerated like in some of the design choices in that area, to where like you can do. The reason why I say that is because it opens this world up to doing kind of more crazier villains. I think like I could legitimately see. I'm not saying they'll do this, but like a Killer Croc later down the line. Like this universe, I could see a Killer Croc. The Nolan trilogy, it wouldn't work.
I don't think they'll do a Killer Croc.
I don't think so either.
They're going to stay away from superpowered anything. And we'll get talking to future villains, what we think is going to happen in the next movies. But I don't know. I didn't quite see that much of a difference between environments, I guess. When I look at the Dark Knight trilogy, I mean, looking at the Narrows, that was pretty comic book-esque.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know. I guess there was a dark. It's almost like just a darker aesthetic in this one. Sure.
Yeah.
You know, even things were darker. You know, but they really emphasized the contrast, light and dark, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's some cool scenes. Things looked nice. It really had even a more, I don't know, less billionaire-esque aesthetic to it. You know, it was kind of like real world plus a little bit of money, you know?
Yeah.
Like the Batmobile. I personally love the Batmobile.
Oh, I think
I thought it was really good.
It's like a super souped-up muscle car with a jet engine.
I love when it's...
But it looked real.
When he's about to do that chase with the Penguin, and you see it's just sitting in that like alley, and it cranks on, and it's so loud, and it's like... just roaring for a bit before he starts driving. I'm like, that's
awesome. A very Batman thing to do.
Yeah.
Where it runs him over, you know, or be even more Batman if it was on remote control. But we won't get out of that.
But
no,
I like that aspect of it because it feels like it's year 2 of Batman. Like it feels like, I heard somebody say this on another review, but like I agree with it. It feels like some billionaire with a lot of money got with his butler and just built a bunch of stuff in his garage and like it's like, hey, I'm Batman, like I'm gonna try to do this, and it's not refined quite yet because he's so
he's
early
not polished
on.
Yet.
So he's got some, you know, kind of more jagged looking equipment. Like his glider is just a parachute, like
it's a base jump.
It's a wingsuit,
wingsuit. My bad. It's like it's literally that's all it is. I'm like, that's sick.
And it looked like that was one of the first times he used it.
Yeah,
or you know,
because he like panicked and he's like. He like kind of hesitated at first.
It's not year 1, which I'm appreciative of. You know, like he's not totally out of his depth, right? It's his year 2 or past year 2, but he's just not fully polished. Like he doesn't have the experience of all this stuff. Yeah. He hasn't experienced the Riddler, that's for sure.
Yep.
So I like it.
But no, I also really enjoyed the growth. Like we talked about this the other night.
Yep.
Like at the beginning, you see him just walking into places and just looking straight at people.
Yep.
Like remember the first time he walked into the nightclub.
Yep, Iceberg Lounge. Yeah.
And then the second time he sneaks in instead of fighting his way in.
Yep.
Which shows his growth.
He's learning.
Yeah,
progress.
he's learning. He's changing and developing into the Batman that we know.
Yep.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I love how they showed that growth in there.
Yeah, I do too.
And then just skip straight to it.
Even more the personal growth too.
Exactly.
With like Alfred, where he's all he is about vengeance. Like I am vengeance. Like that is like cliche, but that's really part of the movie. That's really important.
Yep.
Like in the first, I don't know, 3/4, 2/3 of the movie, right? He's like, that's what I'm just trying to make a difference in the city, but all he's trying to do is just get revenge.
Yep.
And he learns that that's not how you can do it.
Yep.
Like by the end of the movie, he's changed. He's
Yeah.
evolved into a true Batman.
Yep.
Instead of like the angry Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And you see that with like that final fight with the kind of Riddler goons or whatever, and one of them says, "I'm vengeance," and it like hits him. He's like, "Oh,
He
like
flips
I
out, yeah.
have to be something more than just vengeance." Like it hits him at that point, and the whole villain of the movie, Riddler, is like kind of that polar opposite hero-esque. Like he's trying to do the same thing Batman does, but the complete wrong way, right? Like they have like the kind of same goal in mind, is to take the corruption and crime out of Gotham, but Riddler's going about it complete nuts and terrible way, and Batman has his.
And that's kind of a wake-up call too. He sees parallels between them too.
Yep.
Like throughout the movie.
Yep.
And it really comes to a head when after he's caught, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "No, I'm not like you." And he like kind of puts him down, and Riddler's like, "This isn't how I first saw it all happen." And he was kind of like in love with Batman, right?
Yep.
It's like we are two sides of the same coin. Like we did this together.
Yep.
And he's like, "No, you're not as smart as I thought you were." That whole scene was pretty sick.
It was awesome.
It was. And like I loved how they played off the fact that he might have known.
know who Bruce Wayne
Yeah,
is.
because he just kept saying Bruce Wayne, and it's like, oh, he knows, and like even Batman like knew, because
He's
tension.
waiting. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
because-
waiting. He's like, "Do I interrupt? Do I stop this?" He's looking at the camera. You know, this is being recorded.
Yep. And even before that, like when he's like about to head to Arkham to interrogate him, he's talks to Gordon. He's like, "This could be the last time like that you see me. Like this could all be over," because he really thinks that he knows that he's Bruce Wayne. And so then he goes and he's just playing on that, and then you find out, oh, he's just the one I missed. He's the one we missed. We didn't get him. And then you kind of see him kind of calm down a bit, like, oh, he doesn't know. So I thought that was awesome.
That was very, very good. It's very good.
But no, I really love the different take, and they just didn't go with a traditional like superhero movie. Like it's just very much a detective movie.
Oh, and I love that aspect, because if you read the comics, that's much more what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That like this is probably one of the truest to the comics Batman movies I've seen.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
And that's partly why it scored so high for me, is it was so accurate for who Batman is.
Yep, I love that, and I think they'll continue with it with the new movies. Like, and I hope so. Like, I think that's perfect. We need that. We haven't seen that yet, really. You have glimpses of it in Nolan's trilogy and stuff, but it's really not a focus, right?
Yeah.
And I also really like Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yeah.
I think he's like understanding the character really well and actually portraying it in an understandable way.
Yeah.
So now, could he be better? Yes, but
everyone can be better.
That's what I'm saying.
But
it's
he played into the wounded, the wounded orphan. Like he played into that. I think in the next movie, you're gonna see more of the philanthropist, like Bruce
I
Wayne,
think so
billionaire.
Because I could tell they were really playing into that. Because remember, the politician was asking for money, he was rejecting that, but then he learned that his father's big $1 billion donation was being misused. I think he might look into that and like take that renewal fund.
Alfred kept trying to push him, you know. Yep. So the next one, I think he's going to take a bigger part at trying to help the city in both sides, Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Yep, I think so too.
That's how I'm seeing it.
Yep.
So I think that's perfect. I like the more I don't know, the revelation with his parents and stuff is cool, and how that pushes the relationship with him and Alfred to grow closer and really have a better understanding. Like that was really cool. I appreciated that. And I called it early on in the movie, like right at the beginning. I was next to Joel and Todd. I'm like, all right, Thomas Wayne's going to be corrupt. even though he wasn't totally corrupt, but
Mhm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
did some bad things, right? And I like that. That's a take we haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a couple comics like that, but I know the Telltale series really heavily went into that with
Mhm.
Falcone and Thomas Wayne being in, and issues with Arkham and like all that stuff, which is why I think Court of Owls is going to happen. And
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
if not this next movie, probably the third one, I would
Yeah.
say.
I'm leaning more towards the third one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the next one will be Hush, with maybe
Ooh.
cameo Joker.
That would actually be a really good
I think
one
it's
right
going to be
there.
Hush because I think Matt Reeves just came out recently and said he really likes that character and would like to do something with it.
Yeah.
So Hush would be cool.
I've also seen Mr. Freeze that he wants to do.
Yeah.
But I also did see that he did say something about the Joker, how he wants to put Joker more in the Arkham TV show than he does the movies.
I haven't heard anything about the TV show,
So-
so
I don't know enough about that
But-
either, but
I think this movie was amazing in so many ways, and like, I really don't know how they could have done this idea better. Like, I think one thing I will say that I kind of had a little gripe with was just the kind of the pacing was a little slow at times, and I feel like
it was fine.
I actually thought it was really well done for even
Yeah.
pacing.
yeah.
I've heard others say that it was too slow for them. But I appreciate the slowness.
No,
It
I
means
like
you
the
take care with what
slowness,
you're
but I
saying.
think it's a little bit too long. I think.
I think it was pretty good. It was
I thought
perfect
they
for
did
me.
it well.
Yeah.
Maybe just the end. Like, I don't know if I told you guys or not. I was talking to someone about it. Just the ending was a little jarring, I guess. After the fact that they save everyone, right? And he's it's just pretty much him and Catwoman, right?
Yeah.
They're talking, okay, we're going to go separate ways, and then
Mm-hmm.
awkward rooftop stuff, and then they're both on their bikes, and they do kind of like I said, play footsie with their motorcycles, and then they go the separate. It was kind of campy, cheesy,
Mm-hmm.
didn't really fit the movie, I guess.
I will agree with that.
I wasn't a huge fan of just that. That's like 10 minutes of the movie, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was a little meh.
I-
You could have been better. Like that was kind of stupid writing, I thought, but
One thing I thought was interesting, and that part kind of makes me think of it, is on top of like the character growth we were talking about, is something I noticed that when he was like going and like driving around in his motorcycle as Batman, he would hide it. Like he would put us like just normal clothes on, like a biker helmet. But then at the end, when he's doing that, he's in his Batman suit. Like
Yeah.
he's just driving his.
at those
motorcycle.
times it was Bruce Wayne. It really wasn't bad. He
Mhm.
might be like, but he wasn't in attire. Obviously, he was just.
But like there was
Yeah.
moments in the movie
In
where
plain
he was
sight.
fighting as Batman, and then he would get on his motorcycle, and it would be him in just like a jacket, and like the like motorcycle helmet and stuff, and he put like just normal clothes on, like to get on his bike and just drive around on his bike, which I thought was interesting, and it kind of shows like okay he's trying to like hide the fact that he's Batman more, but then like after when during the Catwoman stuff he's just in the middle of the day driving in the Batman suit, and
Yeah.
I think it plays into the idea like people trust Batman now, or a lot of people are starting to
Right.
and he's getting more of
Well, it shows
this-
that at the end when he's rescuing the people, or
Yeah.
he's holding the woman's hand while they get medevaced out,
yeah
Mhm.
or he saves all the people that are about to drown, maybe.
mm-hmm.
And you see everyone's like afraid of him until the child that he sees himself in, of
Yep.
was it the DA's kid or whatever
Yep.
his son.
It was the mayor's son,
It
wasn't
was
it?
the mayor's son.
Yeah,
Mayor's son, yeah.
that's right.
Takes his hand and is the first one out.
Mhm.
That scene is actually the top-down scene where he's leading them all through the water. That scene is freaking awesome, by the way.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It worked. It worked. I love how they even like subtle character developments, like in the beginning, they played the fear like really good.
Yeah.
Like they saw the
Oh
thing
yeah,
in
that
the
was
sky,
awesome.
and then all of the different villains. He can't be everywhere, right? He says
Yep.
that, but everyone is wary and they look at the dark, and then
Yep.
they run
And they
away.
run away,
Like
yeah.
these, you never know. But when he saved the guy from the gang or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And it's just that long scene of you hear his footsteps in the dark, and it's like, all right,
Yep.
But later on, it's like he appears behind you. You don't see anything. He like scares Catwoman a bunch, right? Like there's that transition from I don't care who I'm gonna show up. I don't care who hears me coming,
Mm-hmm.
and to like they're not going to hear me coming now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought that was kind of cool. It was subtle, but it was really cool.
It was really cool.
It was.
And another cool point was the hallway scene.
I love
he got
it.
himself
So
a
good.
hallway scene.
That was one of the coolest scenes in the movie. Yeah.
It's kind of a joke now. Like, it started with Darth Vader, and then like Luke got his, and now Batman gets his. Like,
I mean, it started way before
obviously,
those
yeah,
guys.
but it got popular with the Rogue One Vader scene. But like, just how it's like only lit by the muzzle flashes, and he's just sitting there like beating him up, and you see it. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do want to touch on is Colin Farrell.
That's
as
fantastic.
Penguin is incredible.
Colin Farrell's in the movie?
You can't even tell.
You can't really.
It
at
is
all.
insane.
No, it's true.
I think if there should be any like Oscar like that is actually like needs to be there for best actor or best supporting character, whatever it would be, it needs to be him. Like, he's actually genuinely deserves it because the performance he gave, you couldn't tell it was Colin Farrell at all, like at all. And I've watched a decent amount of things with him in it, so I know his work quite a bit. And this was just incredible. I thought
pretty good.
I thought he did a really good job as a Penguin. I think
Fairly small part.
yeah, but they're setting him up, I think, for bigger stuff.
Well, he's
because
going to take over.
He's
from
taking over
Falcone,
Falcone, yeah.
With John Turturro, that was weird.
Yeah, I thought he did really good.
I think
though.
he did fine. I
My-
don't think it was over the top.
I told Trevor this, and I thought he
Yeah,
did a
Daredevil did,
great
for sure.
job, right? But the one thing is, I can't see him in anything besides Transformers now, in that stupid role he played.
Really?
And so, like, every movie he's in, it just ruins it not ruins it, but like, I can't help but put that stupid character he played
I
in
just
those
see him
movies.
and you don't mess with a Zohan.
Like, I
But-
see him as that super dumb FBI agent, like that super loud and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, but no, I thought he did really good. I'm not saying he
Did
did
a
bad
fine
at all.
job.
I think he did really good. I think everybody who was
Everyone did
casted
pretty
was
good.
really good in this movie. I thought Riddler was amazing.
Paul Dano did a fantastic
Paul Dano
job.
did a great job.
Really, really good.
I love how one of the best scenes that really show his acting in this movie is that scene of interrogating when he gets getting upset and he holds those words out for way longer than you should have because it makes it uncomfortable and it shows the insanity of him. Like, it feels awkward because it's supposed to be, because he's not all there and he's really crazy. And so he's holding these words out, like yelling almost these phrases, and it's really eerie, and I love that.
No, his character was sick.
It was very
loved
well
it.
done.
Really, really good.
Showed the demented aspects.
And the pure genius behind
yeah.
it as well.
Yeah, really good. I think they could have even gone more. Some of the riddles were easy,
Yeah.
but I mean, can't have it all. But no, that's really cool.
Well, they were trying to get it so that it actually played into where they were trying to lead
Right,
it.
I get
so.
it. Yeah.
And that's the lack of creativity of the actual screenwriters on that
Right.
one. They just couldn't think of any better riddles to get them to where they needed them to go.
Yeah.
Which was fine.
I mean, it was perfectly fine. That's just personal preference, I guess. But
I think another thing I really liked was how, like, Batman kind of loses in this movie. Like, obviously he wins at the end, but like, the Riddler's always like one step ahead of him, and you see that at the kind of climax when he brings Falcone into the light and he kills Falcone. He's just there, like that's part of his plan. And then when he's talking to him and interrogating him, he's like, "Yeah, this is all part of the plan. Like, it worked out. We just missed Bruce Wayne, obviously, because there was an oversight. Like, he didn't know Batman was Bruce Wayne." But like everything was according to Joker's plan, and then of course blowing Riddler's plan.
Yeah, Riddler.
And so then he blown up the seawall, and like he kind of won almost, in a way.
Kinda.
And I thought that was really cool. Like,
Stopped
obviously,
at the end,
finale, Batman comes on top. Like, that's the definitive.
Sometimes as part of it, that's also him growing. He didn't understand the Riddler.
Yeah.
And now he'll be able to think a few steps ahead next time he has to face him. This was his first bout with such a genius level opponent.
Yeah.
So he wasn't prepared to think that far in advance. But now he will.
Yeah.
He's learned a lesson from this.
Yep. Exactly.
So you see, Batman has to start somewhere, you know? So.
Yeah. So.
I don't know. I thought it was really well done.
I did too.
I agree.
I'm excited for the next one.
I am too.
Yep.
I'm excited to see where they take it. They have a lot of avenues they can go. They have a lot of villains they've already set up, like Court of Owls, Hush, Joker they teased. I don't think they're going to use all of those.
No.
I think, I said, they're doing a lot of kind of HBO series for this universe. They've already confirmed Arkham's getting a show, Gotham PD's getting a show, and then Penguin himself's getting a show. So we'll probably see some of those villains in that. And like I said, I think Matt Reeves has talked about how Joker's going to be more of a show like Arkham character than he is going to be in the movies.
And I'm glad with that.
I'm okay with that, honestly.
I don't need more Joker, at least that Joker in this universe. I think they did fine with just the Riddler.
Yeah.
That little scene with the Joker was a little too jarring for me anyway. And it didn't fit quite. It was, I don't know.
I thought it was cool.
It was too campy, I think.
I thought it was pretty cool because it teases the most iconic villain, for Batman.
Yeah, but
which I get, but I'll actually agree. I think a lot of the things at the ending there were pretty jarring. They just didn't fit the mood of the rest of the movie.
It was like an abrupt thing a lot of the time. Not so that it just stops, but just it didn't quite fit.
A lot of things were also very subtle with how they grew things. Those were fine, but this one was very sudden change type things.
Yeah.
Like we said, how he changed to suddenly being more of a silent approach, more stealth. That stuff was cool because it was very subtly implemented. It wasn't just in your face with it. Yeah. This was very in your face, along with that motorcycle ride with Catwoman. Very in your face with it,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Some of that stuff was
just a random let's throw in this cliche romance type scene right at the end for no reason. Obviously reason because him and Catwoman are an on and off thing, But it's just, wasn't there a better way to do that? I think there probably was,
but was it still a good movie?
I think it was fine.
Oh yeah,
obviously it didn't take away from the movie or anything, but that's just me. I'm excited to see more.
Yeah,
like I said, I think Hush will be a main focus. I think in the second one, that'd be my prediction. If not, Court of Owls in the third.
Do you think
I'm definitely thinking Court of Owls in the third.
If they do Hush, this is a question I have. Do you think they're going to do is it Thomas Elliott is his name? Or
is it Thomas Elliott?
It's something Elliott.
It is definitely something Elliott.
I want to say Thomas Elliott. Yeah, because he's got that connection to Bruce, and I think he's
they're best childhood friends.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so do you think they'll do him and do the whole surgery to make him look like Bruce Wayne thing?
I'm not sure if they'll do that.
Do you think they'll do the what they did when they changed it in the animated movie of the Riddler being Hush, and make him Hush like they did in that movie? Because I
don't think so.
They're not going to take that.
It'll be a totally different person, I think. If they do it, I know that it might be too close to the Riddler because they I think they use that as a bit of springboard.
And they definitely
Riddler,
hinted,
from Hush.
They talk about that
a little bit from that.
Yeah, and he writes Hush and and stuff.
Yeah. But so if they don't do Hush, I would understand, I guess, because it might be a little too close. But it's right along the lines of detective, dark thriller kind of stuff, which was this movie. And if they try to keep it in the line, I think that'd work. But I would love my number one is Court of Owls. I think that would be freaking sick.
I think that's
and I think that will happen in the next two movies. At least.
I think so. I think the third one.
My guess is the third because they actually gave a lot of baseline elements and they just hinted toward it little bit by little bit.
Yep.
I think they're going to keep building on that until the third because that's very climactic right there. That's end
awesome
game level stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
I love Court of Owls. So cool.
I think so.
Very good. It's one of the comics series that I just straight up bought. So
yeah, it's awesome. But no, I think definitely Court of Owls is going to be a big one. I think, and like I said, Matt Reeves talked about doing Mr. Freeze. He really wants to do that character.
That's interesting.
Which would be really cool.
How do you keep that realistic?
See, that's the hard part.
To a certain extent. You take your liberties, obviously, but
I think they could do it. Because like I said, I still think this world isn't as realistic as the Nolan trilogy was.
No.
I think this does have an element of fantasy to it that
a little bit.
They could do.
There's a greater exaggeration.
Yeah, they could do a little bit crazier characters in this one. Like I said this, and you could probably disagree, but I told Weston this when we got done with it. Obviously, I do not see DC going in this direction at all. Even though I really think they should, is rebooting the DCEU and using this universe, right? I could legitimately see a Superman here. I could see a Superman in this universe. In the Nolan trilogy, no. It's pretty evident that that's not the case.
I don't know if I could see it in this universe.
I
don't think I could.
I think I could see a Superman or a Flash.
I don't think it would work.
Or, I think it'd be very different from what we see now, but I think you could actually do it.
It would. completely eliminate the relevancy of this Batman, though. Like,
Think
this
so?
Batman doesn't have the little bits of, say, world-level hero stuff like, say, Batfleck does, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't have that.
Not yet. Now, if it were further down in his time, maybe. But at this point in his like character development, I would agree. It's too soon to bring in somebody like Bat or
Just with how
Superman.
things are going, like, it would have to be such a significant change to his character. I don't foresee that happening.
You think so? I feel like
If it does, it wouldn't be my preferred thing.
yeah.
What I would
like,
say is if they are going to do something like that, they would have to skip like several years between each movie, the trilogy, to make it realistic. And even then, by that point, you're going to have issues with that.
Yeah.
So
That's true. I just think I legitimately could see it just because Batman is the more grounded character of the Justice League. Like everybody makes jokes, be like, "Oh, he's just a guy and with technology," but he's realistically like one of the most powerful members of the Justice League just because of intelligence and stuff.
Money.
And money.
and money.
But like I legitimately could see like a Superman in this universe or whatever. Now I'm not saying they're gonna do that. I don't think they would.
I don't think
Even
they
though
will,
I think DC does need a really big reboot in their universe.
They won't. They have 3 new movies coming out.
Yeah.
Which is really sad.
Which they kind of are, I guess, rebooting it with Flash, but I don't know. I
Are
still
they,
think
though?
it's supposed to be like a reboot. Like if they're doing a version of Flashpoint,
I know,
which isn't really
but
even Flashpoint, and not have issues.
They
of it. But
first kind of just need to burn some of the old ones.
it's already
and
burned.
start
It's
fresh.
a dumpster fire.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. So they need to just let it burn and just
And
like slide that dumpster down a hill and
which
let
is
it go.
sad because I like a lot of the casting characters.
I think the only one I really like that I would really be sad to see is Henry Cavill Superman.
I think Henry Cavill is a fantastic Superman.
But other than that, like
I think honestly, I think Gal Gadot's fine with
I
Wonder
think
Woman. I think she does good.
I like her. I like her.
Who else are we talking? I honestly like Jason Momoa.
I do too.
I
but
don't. I think his movies, the writing wise, are absolute dog crap. But I love him as an actor,
Yeah.
so I think he does a fine Arthur Curry.
No, I like him too, but I'm thinking like if
But just all around writing of movies in DC is just so bad.
yeah, no, like I think if I looked at it and they're like, okay, say like DC does come out and say, oh, we're gonna use this new Batman universe and reboot it, or we're just gonna make a whole new universe, new casting, whatever. The only one I'd be sad to really see go is Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
I think I could get over the other ones.
I don't know if he's doing it anymore. I don't think he is. So
No, so it's like, why just not reboot it?
But
you
it
don't have
just-
Batman, you don't have Superman. Like those are your 2 biggest heroes. Like,
But it frees up Henry Cavill's time to come to the MCU. So
yeah.
which there's been fan casting in
Captain Britain.
yeah. So
But no, I think overall,
see.
getting back on kind of track of the movie, I think
worth watching. Go
it
see
is
it.
very
Definitely
worth
go
watching.
see it.
Very worth watching. I will say it is not for everyone, but
It's
if
pretty
you
dark.
if you are a huge Batman fan,
Be right up
and
your alley if you like
Mhm.
comic book Batman.
If you actually like the real Batman, then yes.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, so good.
If you're a fan of the Nolan trilogy, you'll probably like this too.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely one of my top
It was
Batman
good.
movies now.
It was really good.
So
Yeah. So, well, do we end it off, or is Jordan gonna
I
come
don't know.
I
back?
think
Jordan, you
he's
can come
gone.
back. Probably not.
Probably not.
I'm guessing he's gone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can try to end this, I guess. Let me get to the right spot here.
It's been fun.
Yeah,
has been real
fun. So I'll let you do the outro.